So you've been given the task to make a 3D model. Well, now what do you do, right? So I'm going to show you a couple of different techniques that you can use to make 3D models. Now, this doesn't just have to be 3D models for my project. You can make these 3D models at any time for any project that you want to do, school, outside of school, or whatever. So the first thing I'm going to teach you guys is how to make the homemade clay, the clay that I've been using for years to do these types of projects. The reason I like this clay so much is because it's 3 simple ingredients: flour, salt, and water. So again, these are supplies that are easy for you to get your hands on, whether you already have them at home, or these are easy to get at like the dollar store. You can get as much as you need just at the dollar store for a couple bucks. So what I'm going to start with is the recipe that I'm going to use this year. I've tried different recipes each year. So this recipe is going to call for 3/4 of a cup of water, which I have right here. 3/4 a cup of salt, regular salt, and finally 2 cups of flour. Okay, so 2 cups of flour I have measured out already. So we're going to go ahead and mix these together. I'm going to mix the salt and the water together first, and that's just so that the salt can kind of get throughout the water. So we're going to go ahead and dump the salt in, and then we're going to dump that water over top of it and kind of let that get mixed in a little bit so that it's easier for it to work with the flour. So once that gets mixed in, I'm going to go ahead and add my flour. Okay. And then we're going to get this mixed around. Now you can start mixing it with like a fork or a spoon or something else, but the best way to get the clay really going is to use your hands. So if you're a texture person, this might not be the route that you want to go with making the clay. But you're just going to mix it together, really get the water compounds in, and you can already see it starting to mix in and dry up a little bit here. And the consistency we're looking for is something close to what you would think like Play-Doh consistency would be. And that allows you to do several things. First of all, if we get to that Play-Doh consistency, then it's easy to mold, and you can mold it into shapes. If you use too much water, then it gets runny, and when it gets runny, it'll collapse. So when you're trying to make those great shapes that you're making for your project, it will collapse, and you'll end up with a flat looking 3D model, and for a lot of your 3D models, that's probably not going to work too well. So as you can see, just after a little bit of work on my part, we have this wonderful, almost Play-Doh-like consistency to the clay. So that's as simple as it can be, and this is what we would call air dry clay, meaning that it will stay this soft, this consistent, as long as we keep it in a bag or an airtight container. But if you leave it out to dry, the clay material will dry on its own, and once it is dry, it's hard, and it's actually able to be painted, colored on. You can add things to it, you can glue onto it, all kinds of stuff like that. So here is our new dough or clay that we're going to use. Okay, so once again, if you want to preserve this, the best thing to do is to put it either in a Ziploc bag or in a plastic container that is sealed. Once you have this, you're ready to go to build up your 3D models. You can take it little pieces at a time and mold them and do whatever you want with them. You can add them on top of other things. If you need it to be a little bit softer because you're needing to spread it out, you can always add water to it as you are working with the material to allow it to mold a little bit better. But this is really the consistency you want to start with. And then again, you can manipulate this whatever way you want to. And again, cheap, easy to make, and it lasts for a long time as long as you keep it in a sealed container. So this is the clay that I'm going to be making for you to use for your 3D models. Hope that helped out a lot. And again, you guys can make this at home if you want. If not, I'll have some available at school.